What's up, YouTube? My name is Julian, and this is my 1995 Techno Violet E34 Touring. It was originally a European car imported to the States a handful of years ago. I just purchased it, and I'm going to start working on it now. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of the first things I'll be doing to this touring, why, and where the project is headed. We'll talk about my ultimate goals for this car, and hopefully a time frame and timeline. Also, we're going to be talking about some things I'm going to be doing for the first time ever. And yeah, let's get right into it. So we're going to be going over a few of the first things that I'll be doing to this touring, starting with a modified factory head unit. This is a BMW reverse RDS head unit. Relatively common head unit. There's this killer, I guess you can call it a company, but a guy out there makes really quality products. These are factory head units. I'll do a little video pan across this here in a second, that are modified and modernized. So we'll get some Bluetooth functionality out of this guy. We get some outputs for an amplifier, and then we will also just get some custom text along the front, and we'll show that later on. So we're going to install this. Should be a relatively easy and direct install. Again, it's going to look completely factory, which was kind of a key thing because I think BMW made really great stuff, and OEM Plus is always the themes of my build. We'll also be doing some smoked turn signals. There's lots of options out there right now for different things you could do with the glass on the front and the back of your E34. I opted to go the smoked theme. It's kind of what I did on my E30, and I really liked it. I find that it's more fitting actually for this car. These are in Pro. There's lots of options out there, like I said, but I like to stick with as OEM-ish as I can. Now, in Pro, they used BMW parts, and then they just, it appears, baked them, opened the glass, smoked, resealed the glass, or plastic in this case. But they're pretty cool. I don't exactly know when Impro started doing this and stopped doing this, but they're a little bit more quality options and they look good. So you can get some depot things, other options on eBay, but I really like these. So we're going to go with that. Oh, the reason why we're going to be going with a smoked theme too is not because of these, but these are dope. Because this car actually came with shadowline trim from the factory. So it's kind of a deep-ish purple, and the dark theme really works well with it. It's anthracite cloth interior, and it's actually got a bunch of sport options. So it came with sport seats from the factory. They're completely manual sport seats. And then it also came with shadowline trim and a couple of other cool sport options. So keeping this whole theme smoked and dark, I think will be pretty cool. Not exactly sure what we're going to do for wheels. Probably going to go with a polished wheel. Not necessarily a dark color or shadow color wheel, but I think keeping the whole front end kind of dark as well as the trim pieces, which are already dark, will look really good. And to accentuate that, we have some original smoked Hella Smileys. Now, I say original because there are, again, options out there like Depot and other remanufactured Smileys that you can get. But the glass is kind of the key component here. Now you can see, and I'll do a pan over of these headlights, there's a circle at the top of the low beam, and the other options out there are typically ovals. Now, as far as I understand, the circle is kind of the key to finding original. Aside from the glass, you can see it says Hella clearly on it, and then the housings say Hella on them as well. But that's kind of the key component there. They're really hard to come by. There weren't that many of them. I guess they're a lot more common in Europe still, which makes total sense because this is where they would have come from. But I like it. I think it's cool. Again, try to stay as OEM Plus as I can. That's how I do all my builds. My E30 actually has that smoked theme too, but those are reproduction ones. They have the oval on the front instead of the circle. So we're going to dive into getting these guys installed as well. And anyways, let's begin. I'll do a walk around of the touring and talk a little bit about my plans for it. But we wanted to start with just the parts. So on to the next skate mode. Excuse how sweaty I am. It's 97 degrees, which is why I'm in shorts and flip-flops and a short sleeve shirt and sweating, and I'm breathing heavy because it's hot. Summer has begun. So let's just do a little walk around, talk about what the plans are for the car, what it is. So this, again, is a 1995 BMW 525i Touring. This car is pretty killer because here in the States we didn't get Techno Violet. Man, that looks so gray, even though it's Madeira Schwartz. So many different colors out of that one right there, which is super cool. Again, I can't wait to get the 4 shades of purple in a line, all the Tourings. But anyways, I digress. I'm back. Don't be fooled, as the savvy E34 owners haven't already been fooled. I know you guys can all recognize this is just an M-Tech lip add-on, a little one you could probably get off eBay or any other place. I will be going with some OEM M-Tech bumpers. It's already got the side skirts. That was all a late versus early model option thing. You got those here in the States as well. It's on ESR, 19-inch rims, wheels. Whoa, I can't believe I just said rims. Shame. It's on 19-inch ESR wheels. Actually have the opportunity to run OEM E34 specific MPARs. A friend of mine offered to sell me his, and I will 100% be taking up that offer. Those also only came, as some of us know, on the E34 M5s in Europe, the 3.8 big boy motors. They got all the good stuff. So they also got the E34 specific MPARs. We don't see a lot of those in the States, so I'm excited to run 3 inside, snag this key, open the door, and not hit the E34 Touring. M5 Touring on the side there. Came with anthracite cloth sport seats with armrests. They are manual sport seats, and they are also heated. Can't really see it over there. It was a 5-speed car. It is a 5-speed car. Excuse me. It's not like it's no longer a 5-speed car. It's going to be a 6-speed car. I guess I could say that. And then the rear is also in great condition. Yeah, we were talking about how the interior maybe was reupholstered at some point. It doesn't look like it, but it was possibly just really well taken care of. This whole car is in really good condition. One thing I wanted to ask of the E34 gurus that know way more than I, if it unfocuses and then refocuses, there we go. But down here, why is that there? I don't know why that's there. I've never seen that on anything but the actual M cars. Is that like if you got enough options and stuff, like the seats and the trim, maybe that was a signifier that this was not just a basic 525? This car has 383,000 kilometers on it, just shy of 384,000 kilometers on it. But it was really well taken care of. Everything's in great shape. The dash is not warped. Very minimal warping there in the airbag, which is kind of 100% expected of, when these cars sit in the sun. That's kind of the first thing to go. Then the center vent goes. Then you get the ripples in the front. It's all in great condition. This is the RDS I'll be replacing. And yeah, so that's the inside of the car. Let go of the key. Let go. I need to get out of the car. What? There it is. Okay. Out, cut, film, begin. This is just for now an M50. Nothing crazy. It's a reliable motor. Works for what it's been needed to work for now. But we're going to swap that out. So what's going to go in its place? What's going to go in its place is an M70. An M70 is going to go in there because M70s actually fit perfectly. The E32 and the E34 share the same engine bay. The differences are negligible, so I'll be taking everything from the E32 7 Series donor and strapping it in here. Further than that, the M70 for today's standards is a little bit underpowered, I'd say, as would most. It was built to be a cruising car, an Autobahn car with nice torque across the rev range, low down, had a whole bunch of torque, and it was just meant to be a smooth car, and it did it awesome. But, 300, that's not all that much power. You can get that out of an M60 hybrid, no problem, for a lot less money, make awesome noises out of it. The M70, it sounds okay. Doesn't sound like the typical V12 just because of its design. It's a single overhead cam. The exhaust manifolds aren't necessarily conducive to a really nice high-pitched sound. The cam, the lobes and everything, the timing, all of that plays into the way that an exhaust sound sounds. And these just didn't sound that great, right? So we're going to do what we can to make this thing sound really, really good. I think I have some cool ideas for that. But they do, on the other hand, take boost really well. Dynan proved that with their 8 Series Dynan twin turbo cars. There's plenty of twin turbo M70s in Europe pushing insane amounts of power. So that's what we're going to try to do with this car. This car is going to get, not this block, but this is also really cool. This is an NLA new old stock M70 V12 block that also came with 11 of the 12 pistons. Yes, 11, not 12. We don't know where the 12th piston is, but it was stored for 15 years or so, 15 to 18 years on a shelf. So it came with a whole rotating assembly. Not going to be using that one, but that'll be a good spare motor that'll build up on this channel as well. And yeah, it's going to go in there. So I'm kind of losing my place on what I'm talking about now, but let's put the camera back in place, take a seat, and talk about timeline and building the M70. So the last thing I want to talk about with this car is a little bit what I mentioned in the beginning was my first attempt at something, and that is building a motor. I've never actually built a motor from scratch or disassembled a motor completely. I've done small things like timing components and valve stuff, but nothing to the extent of pulling a motor apart, cleaning, inspecting, and reassembling. So I technically have 4 different M70s at my disposal right now. The first I will talk about, so 2 are in running and driving cars, and 2 are in 2 different states. So the first is a car that might actually just be sold complete, not totally sure. The 2 E34 750i's that I have are likely going to be parted just because of the condition of the car. One has to do with titling issues. The other has to do with the overall condition of the car, not really being a viable option as a whole running, driving car. I think that one's actually pretty healthy. Both of those motors in those cars are around 140,000. I think one is 147, the other one is 143. So not super high mileage cars. Those are the first 2 M70 options. The next option I have is the 1990 8 Series M70 that was pulled from a car, and it was meant to be a R&D motor for some BMW prototype M70 racing stuff, not through BMW, but actually through an aftermarket company that was doing a lot of research and development for racing products for the M70 before they kind of got phased out. So that block, or that engine, was a complete engine with all the accessories on it. It was pulled around 18 years ago, about, the same time. Sorry, this mic is going to clip a lot. Pulled around the same time as the new old stock block that I have, which is the last of the 4. So low mileage, not exactly sure the condition on the inside, not exactly sure the mileage on that motor, but it does from the outside appear to be a very low mileage, complete engine. It does turn, but that's all I know about it. So I'll do more history, or I'll do more research to find the history on that one. And the last is, as I've talked about, the new old stock M70, which is in parts. And I don't have all the parts for that, and it would take another engine to complete that engine. So realistically, that's going to be a spare that I'll build over time, and that'll be something that if I ever were to sell this car, if it's in a completed condition and it's an M70 twin turbo and it's 6-speed and it's 1,000 horsepower and it's running awesome and it's complete, it'd be cool to have a block that's never been run before to include with this car. So that's really long-term planning. That's like retirement for this car planning. But since that's such a special little find, I think it'd be cool to keep that one and not touch it. So realistically, I've got 3 options. It's the 2 running, driving E34 750iL motors, and it's the one that's been on a pallet in a storage unit for forever. I'm going to be pulling those apart, not all of them, but whatever ones I decide, probably keep 2 of them. If I keep the third and I have space for it, great. Just great to have extra parts. But I'll be pulling those apart, disassembling, reassembling, installing head studs, thicker gasket, and then throwing it in here, and then having another one as a spare, and then having that other one as a spare. So yeah, that'll be the first attempt at ever doing that. I'm going to do my best to document that whole process. I'm going to be using Srenton's videos excessively, pausing, looking at every part I can. I'm incredibly nervous, but I'm incredibly excited to do this, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you all along in the process. Timeline for this, I hope to get this thing done in, realistically, 8 to 9 months. That might be an optimist's reality, speaking realistically, but I'm an optimist. And I like to try to think that I'll have this thing running relatively soon because I want to, and it's fun. And it's, who doesn't want to drive a project that they have plans for? I do, and I want to see this thing rip. I think it'd be really cool to bring out to a bunch of events, and I think a lot of people would appreciate seeing it, and hopefully we'll be able to work with some companies and promote some stuff. And yeah, just build E34s. That's what I like to do. E30s, E34s, kind of what you'll see on this channel. So thanks for watching and sticking around. Hopefully I can get at least a video out a month at a minimum, along with a bunch of updates on my Instagram. So if you made it this far, you're a legend. Please, here it is, like and subscribe and see more of this car and others and the build process and fun parts. So take it easy. Have a good day. See ya.